Hi, hello, how are you? Amanda, Beauty Society Saint, artist. I'm gonna do my makeup using Beauty Society's foundation and concealer. They are my favorite. I'm also gonna be using some lip products that are so good. It's a great lip combination. And I'm using Perfect 10 Incognito. I really did love the long wear of the Lip Nirvana, and this is in the color Pick Me. And then I'm gonna top it because I like some hydration on my lipstick without it being glossy. I am gonna be using lip glaze in the color Looker. I know it looks really intimidating. It's not. Anyway, we're gonna dive in and we're gonna do our makeup. I always use a primer. I have oily skin, so proper skincare. This is one of the things I found was a game changer for oily skin. If you want a skin-like finish foundation and you are just not for the creams because they can feel really heavy. That is one of the conversations I've had with a lot of people. They love the way Saint looks on people. They just found it very heavy on them and they just couldn't, it's an adjustment period and they just missed this stuff. So Beauty Society gives you that cream makeup finish in a liquid foundation and it gives really great coverage. Now I got stuff. So the first place I put my primer is always my cheeks. But one of the things that I noticed, if you have oily skin, get a skincare regimen. Get a skincare regimen, not just for keeping your skin clean, but get one that's geared towards oily skin. So I, guess what, use Beauty Society skincare because they have a regimen for maturing oily skin. And by far, I have never, and I'm gonna, by far, never found a skincare regimen that's geared towards maturing and oily skin. I've actually had skincare people tell me my skin's not oily because I'm maturing. It's not as oily as it once was, but I'm still greasy. I know my skin. And don't tell me it's dry when it ain't dry. Okay? I know dry skin. It isn't dry. So I use Beauty Society because they have a regimen for my changing skin that's also oily. So it gives my skin balance. It helps it balance the oiliness, okay? And it helps my makeup stay longer. Everybody who has tried Beauty Society skincare that uses the regimen for their skin type finds their makeup to stay longer. Across the board, everybody I've talked to, a lot of people. Okay, so I'm gonna be using two colors. I'm gonna use a Saint brush, the Buff brush, because it's dense and so it spreads liquid foundation really well. Now I'm not my summer color, I'm not my winter color, so I am mixing Fabulous and Alluring in, let me turn them the right way, Perfect 10, all right? Fabulous is a little bit darker than Alluring, and I do a little bit more of Fabulous because I have stuff, so I wanted a bit on the darker side than the lighter side, and Alluring is lighter, but it also will wash me out if that's all I use, so that's how I do it. You see they're barely different, but there is one blob bigger than the other. And you're gonna notice that it doesn't absorb in the way that watery foundations do, which I think helps with that cream-like finish. This has movability, so if it moves at all, it moves back all day. It also has a touchability where you touch it and it feels like skin that's hydrated. And I like when you touch your skin and it doesn't feel like a dry mask. And I love that. So here's the thing, with maturing skin, your skin has a bit more texture. Your skin is a texture no matter what age. My 10-year-old, my 9-year-old, my 10-year-old, they both have skin texture. It's just different than mine, and mine has a bit of some deeper things, and everybody's different. You want a makeup that has movability because it's got to work with the movability of your skin, and as you get older, there's a lot more movement. Okay, so I have stuff, and I say so much, I'm sorry. But I have things going on and I want coverage without texture. You shouldn't have to pick, and you typically have to pick, okay? If it lasts for 24 hours, it's doing you no favors. It's not letting your skin breathe. You're getting cracking and you can't add more makeup to make it look good. You can add more makeup, but it's not gonna look good. It's like when you drive down a road and they've filled the cracks with the seal, you know? Looks like a kid drew with a Sharpie on the couch. Okay, so we're gonna take this, I'm just gonna make sure I keep it on the lower part of my face, and then I'm gonna be using Saint's creams for my contour, and I'll talk about why when I get to it, because there is a reason, because yesterday I did a video using Beauty Society's contours, and I am gonna say my why after playing with them even more yesterday. So I spread this around haphazardly. I make sure it's covered on all the areas, And this is really just evening. Your foundation isn't necessarily coverage. It's the coverage is a bonus. Your foundation is skincare. It should be hydrating and it should be good for you, okay? Makeup will always look like makeup. It should look like good makeup, but it should be evening your skin tone, okay? Evening your skin tone. And so that's all I'm doing is I'm stippling this around. If you have maturing skin and you have pores and you have fine lines and you have lines, you want to stipple. It helps get it into all those little nooks and crannies and marionettes and whatever this sleep line is I have here. I've been a side sleeper lately when I'm not deep sleeping, which I haven't been deep sleeping lately, and so it is what it is. Okay, I think I have frozen shoulder. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. Anyways, I'm just spreading this out and just making it even. I do pull down after I've blended it all out onto the neck, but we're just bringing it around. Don't try to cover anything until the rest is on. That's a habit that has to break now. I don't care how old you are. Stop trying to cover at the beginning because then you end up with really thick, heavy makeup. All right, so that's it for my Perfect 10 foundation. If you use Saint and you want to try this, message me your colors and you don't have to send me your makeup-free face. If you want to try this, send me your makeup-free face. This is good makeup. I've always liked makeup. It's been a ritual for me. I used to get magazines and try to mimic the way they did hair and makeup. Never could get the hair down. But makeup, it should be fun or we're doing it wrong. And trying new makeup makes makeup fun again. Okay, Incognito. These have skincare in it. The Perfect 10 is an age reversing foundation. This is an anti-aging, which is great because it's going to go around our eyes. But I'm going to take this. I'm using shade 2, and I use this shade year round. All right, so we're just going to grab this. I'm going to make a little flower right here. And then I'm going to hit my Cupid's bow area right here. And then I'm going to draw a triangle right here. Light naturally reflects off of your chin, your forehead, and your nose. And I'm going to do my nose after I contour it. But this is just going to give the illusion of reflecting light while also giving you coverage and balance and dimension. A lot like I do with my Saint makeup. And then this, just because it's lighter, it's going to accentuate the texture of a Cupid's bow and make it pretty. Okay, now let's talk about our under eyes. I'm going to give myself a little extra coverage over my scarring right here. The difference between this, and I like talking a lot because I like talking a lot, but also it's going to show you just how, excuse me, Incognito is different than some of the other concealers that sound like SMARS and Smart, and how they set and they get a little hard to blend after a little bit of time. And this doesn't. This has the big key that I say is for all mature and maturing skin, and that is movability. I can't believe I sang that. I'm sorry. Okay, I have a little breakout right there. I'm just going to give her a little cover. And then I always go a little high right here just so that I can add some lift to my eyes, and it cleans up my eyeshadow fallout. Okay, sticking with the buff brush, okay? And I'm just going to start wherever I'm going to end with my eyes. And when I start blending out my eyes, it's going to, one, make me look a little more washed out and uneven because I haven't done my shadow tones and whatnot. But as my under eyes brighten up, you're going to see my eyeshadow pop out, and it's going to be so good. Okay, so this is what I like about Incognito. One, anti-aging, win. Also, movability, win-win. Okay, so we can tap this out and it doesn't get tacky and thick the way that some of those other concealers are. All right, and so I'm just tapping this back and forth and it just makes it a touch lighter. Same right here, just a touch lighter, and it accentuates that little Cupid's bow here, and I love that. All right, same thing right here. This is going to give the illusion of reflecting light. We're going over the brows. This will help cancel out any redness that you might have if you had to pluck a few stray hairs, or you just have overall redness. It will help with that. And you don't need to be super perfect because right up here we're going to be adding contour. And if you go too high, it will create texture because my skin isn't this color. Okay? And so I just really focus on keeping it here and blending it out. All right. And we want to stack it this way. Light, dark goes over top. All right. I'm going to switch to the smaller end, and I'm going to tap over my scarring here, and then I'm going to go into my orbital bone here, and I'm just tapping this out, Keeping it in the general area, I'm just stippling this into those fine lines and spreading it out a bit right here. I'm just cleaning up under my eye. I am not focusing on my soft tissue area above my orbital bone, between my orbital bone and my eyeball. I'm getting this inner corner here where I have the most darkness. Then I go to my soft tissue and I bring this out, and look at how it just enhances my eyeshadow. It enhances my eyes. It looks like I haven't had problems sleeping at night, and it just comes together. Okay? So good. All right. This stuff is great. I went on a trip recently and I took All Saint, and I tell you what, I came home kind of missing playing with my foundation so much. And so I've been having a lot of fun playing with my liquid foundation again. And it's just a fun ritual. That's what I like to refer to makeup as. It's a ritual. Have fun with it, or you're doing it wrong. All right? And if your makeup has to sit on your skin for an hour to set and start looking good, it's the wrong makeup. Okay, we've got the concealer on. Now I'm going to switch over to Saint. And here's why. I've used Java. It reminds me of a light version of Indigo. And I've used Soul, which kind of reminds me of Tan Lines bronzer. And then I used Cora, which reminds me of Frenchie. These are all great, but they are about 30% pigmentation. I just felt like my makeup felt flat because it just wasn't pigmented enough to do what I wanted it to do. And if I wanted it to do what I wanted it to do, I was gonna have to pile a lot on, and I didn't want a creamy texture. Insert my Saint. 80% pigmentation. So I'm gonna go into my contour Cedar and my bronzer Xanadu, because they're my favorite. I'm gonna stick with the buff brush. I'm gonna stamp into Cedar, and I'm gonna contour. I'm gonna go on the outside right here, and it just has a really beautiful tone. I do feel that Beauty Society is a bit limited on their contours. Also, they're $30-something. These are $16. So why not, right? Okay, grabbing that Cedar, I'm gonna get this side too. And it's just a really beautiful color. We're gonna tap it together, and then we're gonna tap it into little circles going around towards that outer part of the brow and then up where my hair looks really thin. All right, same thing over here. Tappy, tappy, tap, tappy, tappy, tap into that hairline. Never forget that. Your hair works as a sunblock. It's like a hat. So your scalp looks light. So go back, okay? And we bring that down, and it brings down towards that concealer that we put in the middle. And look at how pretty that is. Now I'm gonna go into Xanadu, and I'm gonna add a dot here, and I'm gonna add a dot right here. That's it. We're gonna tap her around and just add a touch of warmth onto this outer part of my forehead here, just to give it a sun-kissed. Sorry about that. I have to go get my kids. All right, we're gonna go into Cedar, and we're gonna tap her down on the cheeks. We're gonna tap her down on the cheeks. We're gonna grab Xanadu. We're gonna tap it on top of the cheekbone above that contour, staying above your natural shadow. We're just gonna tap it into a circle, tap it into a circle, smile, and bring it down just like I did with my other video. But you get more bang for your buck. You're paying less and getting more product. I'm gonna use my finger. I'm gonna go down the side of my nose here. Cedar works really well with redness. I mean, have you seen how red my nose is today? It's been a day. I've been taking a lot of quizzes the last 2 days, and it is not for me. Man, I didn't realize how bad of a test taker I was until I was a test taker. Okay, so we're just gonna tap this around, bring it around, and it mutes the red. I'm gonna take that incognito, and we're gonna tap the tip, boop. And I am going to grab a little off that tip, boop. We're gonna go up the bridge. And then I'm gonna use my finger to just sweep it back and forth, grabbing some off, because that really added a lot. Okay, bringing it down, and then whatever's left on my finger, I'm gonna push it right in between my brows here, but just sweeping it back and forth, grabbing my brush and just tapping it out to blur the edges and bring them together. Super simple. I'm gonna grab a few dots here and a few dots here. Stay with me. We're gonna use the tip of the small end. We're gonna go into Cedar. We're gonna buff it. We're gonna buff it. and just add a little shadow, and then we're going to tap out this concealer just to add some color contrast and structure to our lips. All right, blush. I'm going to use the same color. I'm going to use Frenchie, which is a lot like that Cora, and I'm just going to go up my cheek, starting on the top of the apple and up. This works really well when you have stuff, when you have scarring, and then we just tap this out, and I'm going to tap that in to that bronzer area, and it has higher pigment. My bronzer, my contour, and this blush all work as a foundational coverage. So I'm able to get more out of my makeup by hybriding it with Saint. And it costs a lot less. Now, Beauty Society does have, it ends today, the 22nd of October, 30% off if you use the code BEAUTY. And I recommend that you take advantage of it. The foundation and the concealer alone are so good. All right, now I'm gonna go into a lip liner called Mulberry, and I'm gonna line it. This reminds me of Renaissance, and it is really pretty. It's a satin, so it doesn't set. Then I'm gonna go in to the Lip Nirvana. Again, it's in the color Pick Me, and it reminds me of Frenchie, and it's a matte long wear lipstick. Okay, I just put it on the bottom. I'm gonna rub it, I'm gonna buff it, and it's gonna mix with that Mulberry, and it makes this perfect pink. This perfect pink, and then just for some hydration, because it is a matte finish, and I like a matte finish, but sometimes these glosses just give me a little volume. And this is the, let's see, what is this stuff again? Lip Glaze in the color Lover. And I'm just gonna tap some on. I always start at my Cupid's bow to pull up my upper lip, and then down here. I don't like it super crazy glossy. I just want it to look a little hydrated. We're gonna set our makeup. I'm gonna use Benefit's Porefessionals. I want something, because I have oily skin, I want something that works with oily skin. You want something that has a film form to it. I love my Blue Marble, but I'm out. And I'm gonna use Blotting Dust. I don't recommend Beauty Society setting powder. If somebody loves it, tell me how. Tell me how. I tried it once and threw it away. I just found it to really, really destroy my face. It just wasn't for me. All right, so that's my makeup. That's Beauty Society. I love their foundation. I love their concealer. And together with Saint, you get a good long wear. And if you're looking for a good skincare to help even longer on your wear of makeup, talk to me. Let's take a quiz. Let's find what you need, and we'll work together. Beauty gets you 30% off today. Have a great day.